1. The 1984 Chevrolet Caprice, currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace, is a classic American sedan with a rich history. This particular example has been driven for 150,000 miles and is equipped with an automatic transmission. The car features a blue exterior and interior, giving it a consistent and attractive appearance. The Caprice is powered by a gasoline-fueled engine, specifically a 350 cubic inch V8, which was a popular choice for its balance of power and reliability. According to the seller's description, this 1984 Chevrolet Caprice runs and drives great, suggesting that it has been well maintained throughout its life. The fact that it still has its original 350 engine is a testament to the durability of these classic Chevrolet power plants. The seller has priced the car to sell, indicating that they are motivated to find a new owner for this classic sedan. It's important to note that while the seller mentions the car runs and drives great, they do not provide detailed information about the overall condition of the vehicle. Potential buyers should carefully inspect the car in person or request more information to ensure they have a clear understanding of its condition before making a purchase decision. The car is located in Memphis, Tennessee, which may be a factor for interested buyers to consider in terms of transportation or shipping costs if they are not local to the area. In summary, this 1984 Chevrolet Caprice presents an opportunity for classic car enthusiasts or those in search of a reliable vintage daily driver. With its original engine, consistent blue color scheme, and motivated seller, it could be an attractive option for the right buyer. However, as with any used vehicle purchase, due diligence is recommended to ensure the car meets the buyer's expectations and requirements. 2. The 1977 Buick LeSabre, currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace, is a classic American full-size car that embodies the style and luxury of its era. This particular example has been driven for only 92,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of its age. The car is equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive and perfect for cruising. The exterior of the car is finished in a striking yellow color, while the interior features a tan color scheme, creating a visually appealing contrast. The LeSabre is powered by a gasoline-fueled 350 V8 engine, a popular choice for its smooth power delivery and reliability. According to the seller's description, this car has had only 2 owners throughout its life, suggesting that it has been well cared for. The seller also mentions that the vehicle is fully paid off, which could be an advantage for potential buyers, as they won't have to deal with any outstanding financial obligations. One of the standout features of this 1977 Buick LeSabre is its custom trim level, which likely includes additional luxury features and options. The car also boasts a vinyl top, all-electric accessories, and an 8-track player, adding to its classic charm and comfort. The Buick rally wheels give the car a sporty and stylish appearance, rounding out its appealing package. The seller states that the car has been garage-kept throughout its life, which is a strong indication that it has been protected from the elements and well-maintained. They describe the car as being in excellent condition, both inside and out, further emphasizing the care and attention it has received over the years. However, it's important to note that the seller mentions the car needs a new water pump and tires. While these issues are relatively minor and can be easily addressed, potential buyers should factor in the cost of these repairs when considering the asking price of $7,000 or best offer. In summary, this 1977 Buick LeSabre Custom presents a unique opportunity for classic car enthusiasts or anyone looking for a stylish and well-maintained vintage vehicle. With its low mileage, attractive color combination, and luxurious features, it has a lot to offer. Interested buyers should consider the mentioned repairs and negotiate accordingly, but overall this car appears to be a solid choice for those in the market for a classic Buick. 3. The 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass, currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace, is a classic American car that has seen better days. This particular example has been driven for only 26,800 miles, which is exceptionally low for a vehicle of its age. The car is equipped with an automatic transmission and features a gold exterior and brown interior color scheme. According to the seller's description, The car has been parked due to water getting into the oil, which is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. The seller has taken apart the front portion of the engine, including the radiator, fan, alternator, water pump, and valve covers. While they have all the parts that were removed, the car will need to be reassembled and repaired before it can be driven again. It's important to note that water in the oil can cause significant damage to an engine, and potential buyers should be aware that this car may require extensive repairs or even an engine rebuild. The seller mentions that the car was a daily driver before this issue occurred, suggesting that it was in good running condition prior to the water contamination. The seller also states that the car comes with all good and chrome engravings, which could be a desirable feature for some buyers interested in the car's aesthetic appeal. However, given the engine issues, these cosmetic features should be considered secondary to the mechanical repairs needed. On a positive note, the car has had only 2 owners and is fully paid off, which could be advantageous for buyers looking to avoid financing or additional ownership complications. The asking price of $4,500 may seem attractive for a classic Oldsmobile Cutlass, but potential buyers should carefully consider the cost of repairs and the time and effort required to get the car back on the road. The seller is located in Mission, Texas, and is willing to have someone show the car to interested parties as they work out of state. They are only interested in serious offers and are not open to trades, preferring a cash transaction. In summary, this 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass represents a project car that could be a rewarding endeavor for the right buyer. However, given the engine issues caused by water contamination, it is crucial for potential buyers to thoroughly assess the condition of the car and factor in the cost of repairs before making an offer. If you are mechanically inclined and have the resources to address the engine problems, this low-mileage Cutlass could be a unique opportunity to own a classic car. However, if you are looking for a turnkey classic vehicle, this particular example may not be the best choice. 4. The 1985 Mercury Grand Marquis, currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace, is a classic American full-size luxury car. This particular example has been driven for only 39,711 miles, which is remarkably low for a vehicle of its age. The car is equipped with an automatic transmission and features a consistent gray color scheme for both its exterior and interior. According to the seller's description, the car is a very good car, suggesting that it has been well maintained and cared for throughout its life. However, the seller also mentions that the car currently has some starting issues and requires some good TLC. This indicates that the vehicle may need some repairs or maintenance to get it running reliably again. It's important to note that while the low mileage is a positive aspect of this car, potential buyers should be prepared to invest time and money into addressing the starting issues and any other maintenance needs that may arise due to the car's age. The seller acknowledges that the car is an antique, which could make it an attractive option for classic car enthusiasts or collectors. The seller mentions that the car is worth working with, implying that despite its current issues, the vehicle has a solid foundation and potential for restoration or revival. This sentiment is further supported by the fact that the car has had only 2 owners and is fully paid off, which could be advantageous for buyers looking to avoid financing or additional ownership complications. The asking price of $3,500 or best offer may be attractive for a classic Mercury Grand Marquis, especially considering its low mileage. However, potential buyers should factor in the cost of repairs and maintenance when making an offer and carefully assess the overall condition of the vehicle. In summary, this 1985 Mercury Grand Marquis presents an opportunity for classic car enthusiasts or those looking for a project car with a solid foundation. The low mileage and limited ownership history are appealing aspects, but the starting issues and need for TLC should not be overlooked. Potential buyers should be prepared to invest in the car's maintenance and repairs and negotiate the price accordingly. If you are willing to put in the work to revive this classic luxury car, it could be a rewarding and enjoyable experience. However, if you are looking for a turnkey classic vehicle, this particular example may require more attention than you are willing to invest. 5. We're taking a look at a 1982 Oldsmobile 98 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has it listed at $4,000. This classic Oldsmobile has 99,000 miles on the odometer and comes equipped with an automatic transmission. The exterior is a beige color, while the seller hasn't specified the interior color in the listing. One interesting thing to note is that this 82 Olds 98 apparently has a diesel engine, which was an option on some Oldsmobile models in the early 80s. Now, the seller's description is quite brief. It simply states the car's make and model, without providing any additional details about the vehicle's overall condition, maintenance history, or features. The lack of information makes it difficult to get a complete picture of what kind of shape this Oldsmobile is in. Based on the limited details and the age of the vehicle, potential buyers should definitely plan to thoroughly inspect the car in person and ask the seller more questions before making a decision. At 40 years old, it's likely this Olds 98 may have some wear and tear or need repairs, which could be costly. The $4,000 asking price may or may not be a good deal, depending on the car's true condition. So if you're in the market for a classic 1980s American luxury car and don't mind a diesel engine, this 1982 Oldsmobile 98 could be worth checking out. Just be sure to do your due diligence and gather more information from the seller before handing over any cash. 6. We've got a real treat for you on Facebook Marketplace, a stunning 1965 Ford Mustang with a price tag of $14,200. This classic pony car is sure to turn heads and get your heart racing. According to the seller, this Mustang has been cherished and well maintained. With just 90,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this car has been enjoyed, but not abused. The exterior is a sleek white, while the interior is a vibrant red, a classic color combination that perfectly complements the Mustang's timeless design. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 302 V8 engine that the seller says runs smoothly. They also mention that the car has received plenty of aftermarket parts straight from Summit, indicating that it's been upgraded for even better performance. This could include anything from a new exhaust system to upgraded suspension components, making this Mustang not just a pretty face, but a true performer on the road. The seller notes that they purchased this Mustang from an older gentleman who took excellent care of it, and it shows. The car has been garage kept, protecting it from the elements and preserving its condition. This is crucial for a classic car like this, as exposure to the elements can lead to rust, paint fade, and other issues that can be costly to repair. In addition to its excellent condition, the seller also states that the vehicle has no significant damage or problems and comes with a clean title. This is great news for potential buyers, as it means you won't have to worry about any hidden issues or legal troubles down the line. While the asking price of $14,200 might seem steep at first glance, it's important to remember that classic Mustangs like this one are highly sought after by collectors and enthusiasts. The '65 Mustang is an icon of American muscle, and finding one in such great condition with desirable upgrades is becoming increasingly rare. The seller does mention OBO, or best offer, so there may be some room for negotiation, but don't expect this beauty to go for a bargain basement price. It's also worth noting that the seller mentions this Mustang is a 1964 1.2 model. For those who may not know, the very first Mustangs rolled off the production line in March 1964, halfway through the model year. These early Mustangs are often referred to as 1964 1.2 models and are particularly desirable among collectors for their historical significance. Overall, this 1965 Ford Mustang seems to be a fantastic example of a well-loved and well-maintained classic car. Its combination of a powerful 302 V8 engine, beautiful color scheme, aftermarket upgrades, and excellent condition make it a rare find on Facebook Marketplace. If you're in the market for a vintage Mustang that's ready to hit the road and turn heads, this one is definitely worth checking out. As always, be sure to inspect the car thoroughly in person and ask the seller any additional questions you may have before making a decision. 7. We've got a real gem for you on Facebook Marketplace, a 1975 Chevrolet Camaro with a price tag of $8,500. This classic muscle car is sure to get your engine revving. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Camaro. The seller proudly states that there is no rust on the car, which is a huge plus for any classic vehicle. Rust can be a real problem for older cars, leading to costly repairs and decreased value. The fact that this Camaro is rust-free is a testament to how well it's been cared for over the years. The seller also mentions that the car is very clean inside and out, suggesting that it's been well maintained both cosmetically and mechanically. The exterior is a stunning burgundy color, while the interior is a sleek black, a classic color combination that perfectly suits the Camaro's aggressive styling. Under the hood, you'll find a small block Chevy SBC engine, which is a popular choice among Camaro enthusiasts for its power and reliability. The seller notes that the motor is already out of the car, which could be a great opportunity for the next owner to drop in their own custom engine and really make this Camaro their own. The car also comes equipped with a 3-speed transmission built with a 3200 stall converter and 456 gears in the rear end. This setup is perfect for both daily driving and occasional trips to the drag strip, as the seller mentions that the car has seen the winner's circle a few times. It's clear that this Camaro has been built to perform. Other notable features include a semi-built roll cage, back half subframe mounts, and a clean Tennessee title in the seller's name. The seller also mentions that the car has had 2 owners and has been driven 125,235 miles, a relatively low number for a car of this age. In terms of potential issues, the seller doesn't mention any significant damage or problems with the car. However, as with any classic vehicle, it's always a good idea to thoroughly inspect the car in person and ask the seller any additional questions you may have before making a purchase. One unique aspect of this listing is that the seller is offering the Camaro with an optional 18F dovetail metal floor trailer for a total price of $10,000. This could be a great deal for someone looking to transport their new Camaro home or take it to car shows and events. Overall, this 1975 Chevrolet Camaro seems to be a fantastic example of a well-loved and well-maintained classic muscle car. Its combination of a rust-free body, clean interior and exterior, and performance-oriented upgrades make it a rare find on Facebook Marketplace. If you're in the market for a vintage Camaro that's ready to hit the road and turn heads, this one is definitely worth checking out. 8. We're taking a closer look at a 1977 Chrysler New Yorker that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has it listed at $3,800, which could be a great deal for a classic car like this. However, there are a few things to consider before making an offer. First off, let's talk about the condition of this New Yorker. The seller mentions that the car has been parked since 2006, which means it's been sitting for quite some time. This can lead to a variety of issues, such as dry rot in the tires, deterioration of rubber hoses and seals, and even rust or corrosion on the body and undercarriage. The seller also notes that the motor won't start, which is a pretty significant issue. Without more information, it's hard to say exactly what's causing the problem. It could be something as simple as old fuel or a dead battery, or it could be a more serious issue with the engine itself. Either way, getting this car running again could require some significant work and expense. In terms of the interior, the seller mentions that the car needs a new seat cover and carpet. This suggests that the interior has seen some wear and tear over the years, which is to be expected for a car of this age. However, it's important to keep in mind that replacing the seat cover and carpet could be a costly and time-consuming process. On the plus side, the seller does mention that the car is a big block automatic, which suggests that it has a powerful engine under the hood. The exterior is a classic white color, while the interior is a tan shade, a popular color combination for cars of this era. The seller also notes that the car has been driven just 55,397 miles, which is relatively low for a car that's over 40 years old. This could be a good sign, as it suggests that the car hasn't been subjected to a ton of wear and tear over the years. Overall, this 1977 Chrysler New Yorker seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, it's a classic car with a powerful engine and low mileage. On the other hand, it's been sitting for a long time and has some significant issues that need to be addressed. If you're considering making an offer on this car, it's important to go in with your eyes wide open. Be prepared to put in some work and money to get it back on the road, and don't be afraid to negotiate with the seller on price based on the condition of the car. 9. We've got a real treat for you on Facebook Marketplace. A 1970 Cadillac Calais with a price tag of $6,500. This classic luxury car is sure to turn heads and make a statement wherever it goes. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Calais. The seller mentions that it's a very nice running and driving car, which is always a good sign. The car is powered by a massive 472 V8 engine, which is paired with a smooth shifting transmission. This combination should provide plenty of power and a comfortable ride, just as you'd expect from a classic Cadillac. The seller also notes that the car has just 54,000 miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a vehicle that's over 50 years old. While they can't prove that the mileage is original, the seller does mention that the car is straight and solid, suggesting that it's been well cared for over the years. In terms of the exterior, the car is finished in a beautiful green color that's sure to stand out from the crowd. The seller does mention a few minor rust areas along the trunk lip, rear window trim, and behind the driver's side front wheel well, but notes that the floors and rockers are solid. This is important to keep in mind, as rust can be a major issue for classic cars. Moving on to the interior, the seller notes that it's in decent condition, with a few tears in the fabric and rough carpet. This is to be expected for a car of this age, and could be an opportunity for the next owner to put their own personal touch on the car with some new upholstery and carpet. One thing to keep in mind is that the seller mentions the car has had 2 owners over the years. While this isn't necessarily a red flag, it's always a good idea to ask for documentation and service records to get a better idea of the car's history. Overall, this 1970 Cadillac Calais seems to be a solid example of a classic luxury car. Its combination of a powerful V8 engine, low mileage, and relatively good condition make it a rare find on Facebook Marketplace. If you're in the market for a vintage Cadillac that's ready to hit the road and turn heads, this one is definitely worth checking out. As always, be sure to inspect the car thoroughly in person and ask the seller any additional questions you may have before making a decision. The seller seems to be open to discussing the car over the phone, which is a great opportunity to get a better sense of its condition and history. 10. We've got a real gem for you on Facebook Marketplace, a 1960 Ford Thunderbird with a price tag of $7,000. This classic American icon has been lovingly rebuilt over the past 2 years, and it shows. First off, let's talk about the work that's gone into this T-Bird. The seller bought the car on the East Coast and brought it back to Arizona, where they've spent the past 2 years rebuilding it from the ground up. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt 390 FE engine with just 500 miles on it since the rebuild. The engine has been bored 30 over and features rebuilt heads with new valves and springs, a high-volume oil pump, and all new internals minus the rods and crank, which have been resurfaced and polished. The seller has also added an aluminum dual-plane intake and a 650 CFM Edelbrock carburetor, although they note that the engine really wants a 750 CFM carb. The transmission has also been rebuilt and has just 500 miles on it since the rebuild. The seller has gone through the entire wiring harness and labeled every wire, ensuring that everything is properly connected and functioning. In terms of the suspension and brakes, the seller has replaced everything front to back. The car has new suspension components all around, as well as new brakes in the front and new lines throughout. The rear end has been serviced, and new wheel bearings have been installed on all 4 corners. Moving on to the exterior, the car is finished in a stunning red color that's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. The seller mentions that they have a lot of extra parts for the car, including wheel caps and various gaskets. Inside, the car features a white interior that looks to be in good condition based on the photos provided. The seller doesn't mention any specific work done to the interior, but it appears to be clean and well maintained. One thing to note is that the seller mentions the car has had 2 owners over the years. While this isn't necessarily a red flag, it's always a good idea to ask for documentation and service records to get a better idea of the car's history. Overall, this 1960 Ford Thunderbird seems to be a fantastic example of a classic American car that's been lovingly restored. The seller has put a ton of work into rebuilding the engine, transmission, suspension, and brakes, and it shows in the car's overall condition. 11. We're taking a closer look at a 1968 Ford Fairlane that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has it listed at $7,500, which could be a fair price for a classic car like this, depending on its overall condition. First off, let's talk about the good stuff. The seller mentions that this Fairlane is a good running car, which is always a positive sign. They also note that the car has new struts, which should improve its handling and ride quality. It's great to see that the seller has invested in some upgrades to keep this classic running smoothly. The car is finished in a gold exterior color with an off-white interior, which is a classic color combination for a vehicle of this era. The seller also mentions that the car has just 44,000 miles on the odometer, which is relatively low for a car that's over 50 years old. However, there are a few things to keep in mind before making an offer on this Fairlane. The seller notes that the driver's side window is off track, which could be a bit of a hassle to fix. They also mention that the car is not show-ready but road-ready, suggesting that there may be some cosmetic issues or minor mechanical problems that need to be addressed. It's important to keep in mind that this is an all-original car, which means that it may have some wear and tear that's consistent with its age. The seller doesn't provide many details about the car's overall condition, so it's crucial to ask for more information and photos before making a decision. On the plus side, the seller does mention that they have a clean title in their name, which is always a good thing when buying a classic car. They also seem to be open to trades, so if you have another vehicle that you're looking to swap, this could be a good opportunity. Overall, this 1968 Ford Fairlane seems to be a solid classic car with some potential, but it's important to go in with your eyes wide open. The seller's description suggests that there may be some issues that need to be addressed, so be sure to inspect the car thoroughly in person and ask plenty of questions before making an offer. If you're handy with tools and don't mind putting in some work to get this Fairlane into top shape, it could be a great project car. And even if you just want a classic cruiser to take out on weekends, this car could fit the bill nicely. 12. We've got a unique find for you on Facebook Marketplace, a 1985 GMC Caballero, which is essentially a rebadged Chevrolet El Camino. The seller has it listed at $7,000 or best offer, which could be a fair price for a classic utility vehicle like this, depending on its overall condition. First off, let's talk about the powertrain. The seller mentions that this Caballero is equipped with a 305 cubic inch V8 engine and an automatic transmission, which they say runs strong. This is great news, as a well-running engine is crucial for any classic vehicle. Moving on to the interior, the seller rates it as an 8 out of 10, which suggests that it's in pretty good shape for its age. They don't provide any photos of the interior, so it's important to ask for some to get a better idea of its condition. In terms of the exterior, the seller notes that the car has a few dents but no rust, which is a big plus for a vehicle that's nearly 40 years old. Rust can be a major issue for classic cars, so it's great to hear that this Caballero is rust-free. The car is finished in a black exterior color with a gray interior, which is a classic color combination that never goes out of style. One interesting thing to note is that the seller mentions the car has just 1,898 miles on the odometer. While it's possible that this is accurate, it's also possible that the odometer has rolled over or been replaced at some point. It's important to ask for clarification on this and to check the car's overall condition to see if it matches the mileage claimed. The seller also mentions that the car comes with its original owner's manual, which is a nice touch for any classic car enthusiast. They seem to be open to trades, but specifically mention that they're not interested in boats or motorcycles. Overall, this 1985 GMC Caballero seems to be a solid classic utility vehicle with a strong running engine and a rust-free body. The low mileage claim is interesting but should be verified, and it's important to ask for more photos and information about the car's overall condition before making an offer. If you're in the market for a classic El Camino or Caballero, this one is definitely worth checking out. These vehicles have a unique style and practicality that make them popular among collectors and enthusiasts alike. 13. We've got a real gem for you on Facebook Marketplace, a 1976 Oldsmobile Cutlass with a price tag of $10,000. This classic American muscle car has been well maintained and could be a great addition to any collection. First off, let's talk about the history of this Cutlass. The seller mentions that they picked it up from a single-owner family here in Arizona, which is always a good sign. Single-owner cars are often well cared for and have a documented history, which can be valuable for collectors. The seller also notes that they had planned to clone this Cutlass into a 442 model, as shown in one of the photos. The 442 was a high-performance version of the Cutlass that was popular in the 1960s and 1970s, and cloning a base model into a 442 is a common practice among enthusiasts. However, the seller mentions that they have too many projects at the moment, which is why they've decided to sell this Cutlass. In terms of the car's condition, the seller says that it runs great and everything works fine. This is great news, as a well-running engine and functioning features are crucial for any classic car. The car has just over 106,000 miles on the odometer, which is relatively low for a vehicle that's nearly 50 years old. The exterior of the car is finished in an off-white color, which looks to be in good condition based on the photos provided. The seller doesn't mention the interior color, but the photos suggest that it's a dark color, possibly black or brown. One thing to note is that the seller mentions the car has no significant damage or problems and comes with a clean title. This is always a good sign when buying a classic car, as it suggests that the vehicle has been well maintained and hasn't been in any major accidents. The seller also mentions that they have more photos available on their website, which is a great resource for potential buyers. They even provide a business card with their contact information, which shows that they're a professional seller who is easy to get in touch with. Another great thing about this listing is that the seller offers nationwide shipping and financing options. This opens up the possibility of owning this classic Cutlass to buyers all across the country, even if they're not local to Arizona. Overall, this 1976 Oldsmobile Cutlass seems to be a fantastic example of a well-maintained classic muscle car. Its single-owner history, low mileage, and clean title make it an attractive option for collectors and enthusiasts alike. The asking price of $10,000 may seem a bit high at first glance, but it's important to keep in mind that classic cars like this are becoming increasingly rare and valuable. If the car is truly in as good of condition as the seller claims, it could be a solid investment for the right buyer. 14. We've got another classic American muscle car for you on Facebook Marketplace, a 1971 Oldsmobile Cutlass with a price tag of $5,500. This vintage beauty has been well maintained and could be a great addition to any collection. First off, let's talk about the mileage. The seller mentions that this Cutlass has just 69,000 miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car that's over 50 years old. This suggests that the car has been well cared for and hasn't been driven too hard over the years. The seller also notes that this Cutlass was a one-owner car before they acquired it, which is always a good sign. Single-owner cars are often well maintained and have a documented history, which can be valuable for collectors. In terms of the car's mechanical condition, the seller says that it runs excellent and that they would drive anywhere in it. This is great news, as a well-running engine is crucial for any classic car. The seller has also recently performed a fresh tune-up, including new plugs, wires, distributor, fuel filter, fuel pump, and a brand new water pump. The battery is also just 1 month old, and the oil was changed less than 200 miles ago. These recent maintenance items show that the seller has been taking good care of the car and wants to ensure that it's in top mechanical shape for the next owner. Moving on to the interior, the seller mentions that it's in great shape overall, with the exception of the headliner needing to be replaced and a crack in the dash. These are relatively minor issues that could be easily addressed by the next owner, and they don't detract too much from the overall value of the car. The exterior of the car is finished in an off-white color, which looks to be in good condition based on the photos provided. The seller doesn't mention the interior color, but the photos suggest that it's a dark color, possibly black or brown. One thing to note is that the seller is firm on their asking price of $5,500. They specifically mention that they will not respond to "Is it available?" messages or offers of $3,000, and they're not interested in any trades. This shows that the seller knows the value of their car and isn't willing to let it go for less than what they believe it's worth. Overall, this 1971 Oldsmobile Cutlass seems to be a fantastic example of a well-maintained classic muscle car. Its low mileage, recent maintenance, and clean title make it an attractive option for collectors and enthusiasts alike. The asking price of $5,500 seems to be fair, given the car's condition and the current market for classic Oldsmobiles. If you're in the market for a vintage muscle car that's ready to hit the road, this Cutlass is definitely worth checking out. 15. We're taking a closer look at a 1982 Cadillac DeVille that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has it listed at $4,500, but it's important to note that this classic Caddy is a project car that will need some work to get it back into top shape. First off, let's talk about what we know about this DeVille. The seller mentions that it's a coupe model with a triple white package and a black dash, which sounds like a stylish color combination. However, they also admit that they don't know much about the car, as they originally got it for their son, but decided to go a different route. Now, let's dive into the condition of this Cadillac. The seller is upfront about the fact that this is a project car that needs to be gone through completely. They mention that it will need a paint job, as well as some body work on the roof, where there are 2 dents. There's also some rust on the door and surface rust present on the car, which is not uncommon for a vehicle of this age. In addition to the cosmetic issues, the seller notes that the car will need a new quarter rag top and back bumper, which suggests that there may be some more significant damage or wear and tear in those areas. Mechanically, the seller says that the car does run, but it will need a tune-up to get it running smoothly. This could include things like replacing spark plugs, filters, and fluids, as well as checking the belts and hoses for wear. Overall, it's clear that this 1982 Cadillac DeVille is a project car that will require a significant amount of work to get it back into top shape. The asking price of $4,500 may seem a bit high for a car in this condition, but it's important to keep in mind that classic Cadillacs like this one are becoming increasingly rare and desirable among collectors. If you're a skilled mechanic or have experience with restoring classic cars, this DeVille could be a great project to take on. However, if you're looking for a turnkey classic that's ready to hit the road, this probably isn't the car for you. As always, be sure to inspect the car thoroughly in person and ask the seller any additional questions you may have before making a decision. It's also a good idea to get a professional opinion from a mechanic or body shop to get a better idea of the scope and cost of the work that needs to be done. If you do decide to take on this project, be prepared to invest a significant amount of time and money into getting it back into top shape. But if you're up for the challenge and have a passion for classic Cadillacs, this 1982 DeVille could be a rewarding project to take on. 16. We've got a classic 1965 Chevrolet El Camino up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $9,000 for this vintage ride, which could be a great starting point for a restoration project or a fun daily driver as is. First off, let's talk about the powertrain. This El Camino is equipped with a 283 cubic inch V8 engine, which was a popular choice for Chevrolet vehicles in the mid-1960s. The seller mentions that the engine runs well and the automatic transmission shifts and operates correctly, which is always a good sign for a car of this age. In terms of the exterior, this El Camino is finished in a brown color, which appears to be in decent shape based on the photos provided. However, the seller does note that there is some rust present over the rear fenders and above the front window, which is not uncommon for a vehicle that's over 50 years old. It's important to keep in mind that rust can be a significant issue for classic cars, and it may require some extensive repair work to address. One unique feature of this El Camino is the sunroof, which is a cool addition that you don't see on many of these vehicles. The seller also mentions that they just had the plugs, wires, and battery changed, which shows that they've been doing some basic maintenance to keep the car running well. Moving on to the interior, the seller notes that the passenger side door panel is missing and is currently behind the seats. This is a relatively minor issue that could be easily addressed by the next owner. The interior is finished in a gray color, which looks to be in decent shape based on the photos provided. The seller mentions that this El Camino has been sitting for about a year, but prior to that, it was driven daily. This suggests that the car has been well maintained and has been used regularly, which is always a good sign for a classic vehicle. In terms of the mileage, the seller states that the car has been driven 10,000 miles. While this is relatively low for a vehicle of this age, it's important to keep in mind that the odometer may have rolled over or been replaced at some point, so the actual mileage may be higher. One thing to note is that the seller is firm on their asking price of $9,000 and is not interested in any trades, payments, or deliveries. This shows that they know the value of their car and are looking for a serious buyer who is willing to pay cash. Overall, this 1965 Chevrolet El Camino seems to be a solid project car or daily driver for someone who appreciates classic American vehicles. While it does have some rust issues and a few minor interior problems, it appears to be in good mechanical shape and has some cool features like the sunroof. 17. We've got an interesting find on Facebook Marketplace, a 1966 Dodge Dart GT with a price tag of $4,000 or best offer. This classic Mopar could be a great project car for someone who has the time and skills to give it the attention it deserves. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Dart. The seller mentions that they bought it as a project car but no longer have the time to work on it. They note that the car runs and drives, but they advise bringing a trailer to transport it. This suggests that while the car is operational, it may not be in the best shape for a long drive. The seller also mentions a couple of specific issues with the car. They note that it has trouble downshifting, which could indicate a problem with the transmission or linkage. They also mention that the carburetor is leaky, which could cause issues with fuel delivery and engine performance. Despite these issues, the seller states that the car doesn't need much work other than a little wiring. This suggests that the major mechanical components of the car are in decent shape, but it may need some electrical work to get everything functioning properly. In terms of the exterior, this Dart is finished in a white color, which looks to be in decent shape based on the photos provided. The interior is also white, which is a classic color combination for a car of this era. One thing to note is that the seller mentions the car has had 2 owners and has been driven 130,000 miles. While this is relatively high mileage for a classic car, it's not necessarily a deal breaker if the car has been well maintained over the years. The seller also notes that the car has a clean title and no significant damage or problems, which is always a good sign when buying a classic car. However, given the issues with the transmission and carburetor, it's important to thoroughly inspect the car in person and ask the seller any additional questions you may have before making a decision. Overall, this 1966 Dodge Dart GT seems to be a solid project car for someone who has the time and skills to address the issues mentioned by the seller. The asking price of $4,000 or best offer seems reasonable for a car in this condition, but it's important to keep in mind that there may be additional costs involved in getting it back into top shape. 18. We're taking a look at a 1977 Chevrolet Nova that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has it listed at $9,000 or best offer. Now let's dive into the details. This Nova has 76,604 miles on the odometer and comes with an automatic transmission. The exterior and interior are both finished in black, giving it a classic, sleek look. It's a gasoline-powered vehicle, so keep that in mind for fuel costs. The seller's description is quite brief, simply stating the price and to reach out for more information if the car is still available. To be honest, this lack of detail could be a bit concerning. Without more information about the car's overall condition, maintenance history, and any potential issues. It's difficult to gauge whether this price is fair. It's important to approach this listing with a bit of caution. While the mileage is relatively low for a car of this age, the limited description doesn't provide us with a clear picture of the Nova's current state. If you're seriously interested, I'd recommend contacting the seller and asking for more details and photos. It's crucial to have a thorough understanding of what you're getting into before making a significant investment like this. The 1977 Chevrolet Nova can be a great classic car when well maintained, but as with any older vehicle, it's essential to do your due diligence. Get a vehicle history report, inquire about any rust issues, which can be common in these cars, and if possible, have a mechanic inspect it before making a purchase. In summary, while this 1977 Chevrolet Nova might be an appealing option for some, the limited information in the listing raises some questions. Proceed with caution, gather more details, and make an informed decision based on the car's actual condition. 19. Let's dive deep into this 1984 Buick LeSabre I found on Facebook Marketplace. I've got to be straight with you, this one's definitely a project car, but it might be worth your attention if you're into classic American cars. Listed at $3,500, this white LeSabre with its blue interior has only 81,000 miles, which is surprisingly low for a car pushing 40 years old. The 1984 LeSabre was part of Buick's full-size luxury car lineup, and these models were known for their smooth ride, spacious interior, and that classic box-style design that defined the 1980s. But here's the real deal. It's been sitting for 8 months and needs some serious attention. The seller's honest about it needing carburetor work, and you'll need a tow truck to get it home from Chandler. These old Buicks typically came with the reliable Oldsmobile 307 V8 engine, which is generally pretty robust, but sitting for extended periods can cause all sorts of issues beyond just the carburetor problems. The good news? It's only had 2 owners, which often means better care throughout its life. Those new tires still have air in them, though after sitting for 8 months, you'll want to check them carefully for flat spots and dry rot. The fact that it's paid off means no title hassles to deal with. These LeSabres were built like tanks, with solid body construction and that famous GM B-body platform that car enthusiasts often praise. When running, they're known for their floating-on-air ride quality and surprisingly decent fuel economy for their size. The blue interior was typical for its era, and these cars usually came well-equipped with power windows, locks, and comfortable bench seats that feel like your living room sofa. At $3,500, considering its current non-running condition, there's definitely room for negotiation. You'll need to factor in towing costs, carburetor rebuild or replacement, and likely a full fluid change, brake system inspection, and fuel system cleaning after sitting for so long. The electrical system should also be thoroughly checked. This could be a rewarding project for someone who knows their way around carburetors and enjoys bringing old American classics back to life. These cars have a strong following, and parts are generally still available through various suppliers and junkyards. Just remember, you're not just buying a car, you're buying a project that will need immediate attention to get back on the road. If you're interested in 80s American luxury cars and don't mind getting your hands dirty, this LeSabre could be an interesting opportunity. 20. We're looking at a really interesting find on Facebook Marketplace. A 1978 Cadillac Eldorado with an asking price of $3,000. Now, this is where things get interesting. The car shows just 2,554 miles, which honestly, for a 45-year-old Cadillac, seems suspiciously low. It's likely the odometer has rolled over at least once, making the actual mileage probably 120,554 or even 220,554 miles. This brown-on-brown Eldorado, very 70s by the way, represents peak American luxury from the disco era. The 78 Eldorado came with a massive 425 cubic inch, 7.0L V8 engine, which was known for its smooth operation but pretty thirsty fuel consumption. The seller claims it runs and drives great, which is actually pretty impressive for a car of this age. The Eldorado was Cadillac's personal luxury coupe, and these cars were absolutely massive. We're talking about one of the last examples of true American land yacht luxury. They came loaded with features that were ahead of their time. including power everything, climate control, and that ultra-soft leather interior that Cadillac was famous for. At $3,000 firm, with the seller not interested in trades, this could be a decent deal if everything checks out mechanically. However, be prepared for some typical old Cadillac issues. These cars often have problems with their climate control systems, electrical gremlins, and they're notorious for vacuum line issues that can affect various systems. Plus, parts can be expensive. This is a Cadillac after all. If you're interested in classic American luxury and don't mind the fuel bills, this could be a unique opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Just make sure to check for rust, especially in the usual spots like wheel wells and floor pans, and verify all the electrical systems work. And remember, these cars were built for comfort, not speed. Expect a floating ride and boat-like handling, exactly as Cadillac intended back in 1978.